Morning, I'm with Nutkins here. Hello Carol, can you introduce yourself and explain what you do as a role?
Yes, of course, Ali, thanks. So I'm currently called a social prescribing link worker. So I support patients for 3 surgeries who refer to me directly. And our prime purpose is to introduce people who might be lonely or maybe, living with mental health, or could be dementia, or have housing problems, all manner of things, and help them to work out what matters to them, what do they want to try and resolve in their life, which isn't medical, because obviously we're not medical professionals, and then help them navigate their way around all the activities and the charities and community groups that we have in our area, introduce them to those to help them, I suppose, make more connections, maybe improve their health if they're joining a group that perhaps does exercise, or building up their social contacts with, a knit and natter group or something, or even, improving their employability, or improving their mental health, their housing situation, their finances, and empowering them to, join in with us to look for that and make decisions about what they want to do. So we're not here to say, you must go to this group because it's fab, and we know most of our groups are. It's about, would you like to look at this? Or have you ever thought about how you might solve this problem, and help them work through? Mm-hmm. And some people, still need that guiding hand, and someone saying, actually, how about this? This is a really good idea. And they'll say, oh yes, never thought of that before. But the main purpose is for people to think about it for themselves. So not be led, but to be supported to find their own solutions.
So to empower them very much.
Really, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And so have you used the What's On guide to do your job, and what do you like the most about it?
So actually I was talking about the What's On guide yesterday to somebody who I'm sending it to, and said really we use it like a Bible. And it's been around for a few years now. I've been doing this role, and I like the fact that it's now online as well, so I can send it to people in email, and I can look at it any time and know that it's updated on a regular basis. The actual book people love because it's something to read, something to look at, and I like the way it's in postcode order, and it's quite a inviting looking book as well, isn't it? It's I think it gives us the opportunity to say to people, without having to do the research ourselves, oh, there's this group, or there's this going on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and so it's been invaluable really to be able to promote to people what's going on in our community, which is an amazing resource for us. I can't do my job without all the services out there that offer, support to people. Yes. And to have it, in one place is just amazing. When I started this role 7 years ago, we spent so many hours researching, visiting, community groups, going into churches and seeing if they had anything on, and the man hours it took us as a new service all those years ago. Now, anybody coming into the service now has got this.
Yes.
Not only obviously the knowledge of those of us that have been doing the job, but also this Bible, so to speak, that they can just pick up and say, oh yeah, so on a Wednesday this group happens in Abbott Langley.
Well, that's great to hear. And what sort of impact would you say it's been on any of the individuals you've supported?
So quite a lot of people that I mention it to are quite excited to have it, and one gentleman in particular surprised me actually, because he was quite he wasn't able so much to do things for himself. He lived alone, elderly, health problems, and I visited him for some other reasons, and I took the guide with me. I said, oh, would you fancy having a look through this? He went, well, I'm not really that sociable. I said, well, it's not all about social groups, there's lots of stuff in there. Anyway, about 3 weeks later, he phoned me to give me some information, and he said, "Oh, you never guess what?" I said, "What?" He said, "I've actually contacted one of the groups in your What's On guide," and I was sort of a bit taken aback, to be honest, because he didn't seem like the type at all. When I gave it to him, I was thinking, he's probably not going to look at it. And he was so pleased with himself that he'd done it. And actually, you know, for people to do that and take that step and actually do it for themselves is a big step for some people. And it was for him.
Yeah.
And I contacted him. He contacted me again a few weeks later, and he'd spoken to them, and he'd been for his first session, and, you know.
That's great to hear that you managed to get out there to actually go and visit it as well as just read it in the guide.
Yes,
which is,
that's right.
Yeah. And how would you say you've benefited by being involved with the Neighbours Together project and with the What's On guide?
So I think, you know, for us it's great to know that that's the resource we've got and that it's updated regularly and people look forward to receiving it. You know, I'm all for people you know, having information to help themselves. So if we can do that by whatever means, whether it's by What's On guide or by somebody else who's picked it up somewhere and then says to their neighbour, "Have you seen this? And how do you fancy coming with me to something?"
Yeah.
You know, can only be a benefit to everyone, and not only to the person who's being offered the support to go somewhere, but actually as a person, when you've helped somebody, that gives you a really good feeling, and that improves your well-being, because it's just a nice feeling, isn't it, to know that you've helped someone as well as being the person who's been helped. You know, and I think it's something that I really wish we had in other areas, you know, that other places, you know, not just in Watford and Three Rivers, that this could be elsewhere, because we sometimes look outside of our areas and it can be really difficult to find stuff that's going on.
And if anyone else wanted to get involved with the project or with the Neighbours Together, what would you say to them, really?
So in the sense of finding out a group that's not in there, which happened to me the other day, when I told them about the What's On guide and said, you really need, because they were struggling to get people to attend their group, and it was specific, and I said, well, are you in the What's On guide? I went, well, what's the What's On guide? So I explained to them what it was, sent her the link, sent her a link to the What's On guide, and also obviously your contact details. And she was so pleased to know that she has somewhere where they could promote their group.
Oh, that's so good to hear, so great to hear.
Yeah, and that's also happened again, actually, funny enough, twice this week. I've mentioned it to groups about the What's On guide, and they've not heard of it. So, you know, it's getting the word out there. We can get the word out there when we are doing research, potentially, as well, so that next time you print this, you'll have hopefully another couple of things from me to print it.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Carol. That's so nice to hear some of the real positive impact that you're doing, but also what the project and the guide does for individuals and your own work, because obviously it's made it easier for you to do your job.
Definitely.
And I also like the fact that you refer to that, what they call that help us high. People get so much from helping each other, and that's the important part, I feel, for being part of the project. But thank you, Karen.
No, you're welcome.